Hello, my name is Gabe. Stories tend to have a beginning, middle, and end. And I would like to determine which of the three is most important. In order to do that, though, we need to figure out what goes into a good or bad beginning, middle, and end. So, let's start our little investigation at the beginning. So, you are beginning your story. What to do and what not to do. The beginning should hook the reader, either through an intriguing concept and world or well-written characters who put what they are on the sleeves right at the beginning. It all depends on what type of story you're writing, of course. But the big point of the beginning is to hook the reader, which is easy to mess up and also easy to overdo. Whilst it might be tempting to have an exciting action set piece, keep in mind that every other story in the world has an exciting action set piece. You need something to add that is unique to your story. Something that you believe only your story can provide. What that is, who knows? And whilst it could also be tempting to put in an expository-heavy prologue, no one is going to care about the lore and mechanics of how everything is if they don't care about your story. And so a long prologue is just gonna bore everybody to hell. Fair enough, so you gotta hook them. That's the purpose of the beginning. But with that in mind, how do you do that? Well, I explained how. So, that's the nature of the beginning and how the beginning is important. So, let's move on to the middle. The job of the middle is to keep a reader engaged. Keep a reader motivated to keep reading. Look, the beginning's already done the heavy lifting, right? So what does the middle really have to do? Keep the momentum up. Move us up, give us some ups and downs as needed. Fairly simple stuff, but vital, of course. And the ending? Well, that's all about sticking the landing. You want a conclusion that makes your reader or watcher or listener, or however your story is being called, you want an ending that makes the audience go, oh, this all works perfectly. Whether the ending is a happy one, a sad one, the solution to the big mystery, or a weird ending. No, weird endings can work. Check out Scentkeeper, which is my favorite book, and I reviewed a long time ago. It's a really good book. The point being, a weird ending can definitely work. But back to the question. So now that I've defined what makes an ending, a middle, and a beginning good, which one is most important? Well, let's see what happens if you remove each from the story. Let's remove our beginning. Without an enticing start, odds are most readers won't even start the book. They won't have any motivation to do so. And if they have the option to read something else or watch something else, they will. Without an ending, well, it's not really going to affect their experience while reading it, but it is going to affect how they talk about it. I find that the ending of a book or any story tends to stick with you more than any other part, because it's the last impact the story made on you. The greatest stories in the world can be tanked by a bad ending, at least in the way it's talked about. There are a lot of stories I loved up to the ending, and I just lost all passion for them. Couldn't even tell you their names. Not that I would remember those anyways. But my point being, that is the role an ending really plays. It's the impact. It's what we're going to ultimately remember about the story. Okay, but what about the middle? Well, if the contents of the book, for the vast majority, the middle, isn't enticing, or just we are not going to be enticed to read the book further, and if we do, we're also not going to remember anything. For that reason, I think the most important section of a book is the middle. Look, what matters, I think, most is the experience you have while you're reading it. So even if you come away with a bad impression towards the end, you at least had a good time during the story. And if you can get through a rocky beginning to a fun middle, then yeah, I think that's how you're going to have the most enjoyment to a story. That's what I think anyways. I could be wrong. I could be right. Maybe you have some arguments for why the beginning or the end are the most important parts of a story. I'd love to hear them. If you do, leave it in the comments down below. If you like this weird video and want to see more like it, do subscribe. But more importantly than anything else, have a good night.